Hello class, good morning. How are you doing? Hope that you are all fine and safe. Today, we're going to continue our lessons in Unit 5. We've been studying Unit 5 for the last few weeks, ranging from measuring a light to mirrors. Today, we can continue that on Unit 5.6 on page 76 and 77. Our topic today is measuring light intensities. What is light intensities, I might ask you? Can you post something up on our Telegram post if you know anything about light intensities? So me and so your classmates that you know what light intensity is. And one more question I will ask you. What type of industries use the measurement of light intensities? So what company or industry use the measurement of light intensities? You can scan through your book real quick, or if you know something already, post something up on our Telegram post and answer me these two questions. Okay, I will give you a few minutes to think about it. For now, can you please take out your book and turn to page 76 and 77? I got mine marked. Page 76 and 77, talking about measurements of light intensities. And on here, on page 76, on the top page, it said words you need to know, or words you need to learn, is light intensities. So what is light intensities, you may ask? Light intensity is the brightness of the light, brightness or dim. Just say you have, for example, the light. You can control the light to the maximum. This is the middle, to the max. If you turn the light to the maximum of light intensity, that will show that your light is very bright. But if you have a control to your light and you turn it to the minimum, that means the light intensity is real dim. It's not that dark or it's not that bright. On your camera phone, for example, you have a light intensity switch where you can control the brightness, right? Can you take out your phone and set it up to the photographer? And you can have these adjustments on there where you can adjust the brightness of your phone or the darkness of your phone, right? Well, adjusting that brightness or darkness is called the light intensities. So if you want to see me in, like, say, a dark room or real blurry room, you would control your light intensity to the minimum. So all you probably see is just a shadow of me. But if you want to see a brighter and clearer picture of me right now in the video, you can adjust your light intensity to the maximum so you can see me very clear, right? Okay, on our first word, I'm going to read this first paragraph with you on page 76. Can you please turn on your page to 76 if you already have it, and read with me, okay? Okay, let's begin. Light intensity is a measurement of the amount of light in the area. So it's a measurement of light in the area, like how I had here, minimum to maximum. In the past, people measured light intensity using candle powers. The words you need to know, candle powers. So what is candle powers? They said in the past. So that means before they have any light measurement units or tools, they use candle powers. If it's bright to the max, they probably say it has a total value of 10 candle powers because it's real bright. Or if it's very dim, not too bright, they probably use one candle. And they said we've been using one candle powers. This was the amount of light given out by a candle. Today, people measure light intensity using a light meters. What is a light meters? I will post up some pictures on our Telegram post to show you a diagram or a picture of a light meters. A light meter is a device, a tool, which is used to measure how bright or dim the light is. Once I post up this picture of the light meter, you can join me in Zoom so we can discuss and communicate more about the measurement of light. Okay, on 5.6 on page 1 is some science exercise for you. They have here, you can use a light bulb or the curtains on your window and test the light intensities. You can go in your room or your living room and turn your light on and mark on a scale of 1 to 10 on how bright your room is. And once you close the curtains or turn off the light, and you can also measure the light intensity in your room, whether it is 1 to 10, it is bright or dim. This is based on your own judgment. I want you to do this experiment by yourself, and once you completed this experiment, please post it back up on our Telegram post so your classmates and I could see your experiment. Okay. And also on page 77, to answer your question right here, number 2, what type of industries use the measurement of light intensities? On page 77 tells you a few companies or industries which uses light intensities. As you see here, a filmmaker or a studio or a movie makers, they all uses light intensities. Why, I might ask you, why does a movie company or a movie production use the measurement of light? Can you tell me? Well, if you say that sometimes if you're making a movies, you want the scene to be real bright, so you have see the actors or the actors real clear, you need to know the measurement of light. But for some movies, they have dark scenes, it's very dark and scary movies, right? For those scenes, you want the light to be controlled just right, where it is not too dark or not too bright. So you, as a viewer, can see the picture a little clear, but also have the suspense that it is a scary movie, right? So for a movie industry, it is important for you to know the measurement of light, because you want to see the actor clear, but you also want to see where it has some forms of scary touch to it. Is that correct? Yes. And also it says here on page 77, if for industries that grows like fruits and vegetables in a greenhouse, they need to know the measurement of light. Why do you ask, does a greenhouse need to know the measurement of light? Well, for example, just say right now we're in Cambodia and we know that certain trees or certain fruits don't grow in this country, right? So in order for that fruits or that vegetables to grow in this country, we have to make a greenhouse. And in order for us to make a greenhouse, we have to know the light intensity, because if it is too hot, the plant won't grow, right? Or if it is too cold, the plant won't grow. So we need to know the measurement of light, because it will give out the amount of heat inside the greenhouse. I will post this up, some pictures of a greenhouse and what greenhouse grows on our Telegram post, so you can have a better viewing. And for your second task, I also want you to explain some of this greenhouse effects. Okay, now going on to your first task in this first video. For your first task, I want you to write the meaning of these 3 words. The first word is light intensities. We have explained that earlier in the video. Now I want you to write it in your own words, what light intensity means. And for number 2, the word is lux. I want you to read the text and try to come up with the meaning of lux. What does it mean? What does it represent? And if you have any questions of the word lux, ask me and I will guide you to find the correct meaning for the words. And number 3, candle powers. We talked about candle powers a few minutes ago, and candle power is also explained on page 76. I want you to write the meaning of the word candle powers in your own words, okay? So do not copy the meaning from the book, but write it in your own words. And the 4th and the 5th questions, I want you to write in your notebook at least a paragraph or more, okay, class? Explain why the movie industries need to control light intensities. Remember, we talked about movies, how certain scenes or certain sets need to be light or need to be dark. I want you to write a paragraph explaining why do they need to control light intensities. And for the last question, we talked about the greenhouse effects. Also, I want you to write a paragraph or more explaining why a greenhouse needs to control light intensities and need to measure heat where it's coming into the greenhouse so they can grow certain fruits or certain vegetables that can't grow in that region. Okay, class, you will be given 40 minutes to complete this task. I know this is a harder task, so you can, if you have any questions, just ask me and I will guide you through all these lessons. Until we see each other again, bye. Hello class, welcome back to our second video for today's lessons. On the first video we talk about light intensities, and most of you have explained to me what light intensity is. Thank you for giving me your feedback on what light intensity is, and I'm glad that you understand what light intensity is. And you also answered me some of my questions here, saying what type of industry uses the measurement of light intensities. Some of you have told me like movies, producers, or photographers, people who go out and take cameras, or even in a classroom setting. Because if a classroom is too dark, the students can't see the board, right? You can't see what I write on the paperwork, or I cannot see what you write. So in a classroom, it have to be bright, and we need to know the measurement of light intensity, right? If it's too dark, some students might fall asleep or they get lazy, correct? Is that true? So we need some brightness in the classrooms and also around the areas being used. So thank you for submitting that to us and having a great dialogue, having a great communication with me. We understand that a very bright light intensity, a real high light intensity is very bright. Like for example, I give you on our first video, your phone camera, you can adjust it to the very bright or very dark. So we can adjust it to the bright side, to be real bright, or we can adjust the light intensity low and it will become darker. Okay, remember I explained to you on our first video, we talk about on our second task, we're going to do more reading into a greenhouse effects. What is the greenhouse effects? You can look in page 77, it tells you about the greenhouse effects. I will read to you this few sentences here about the green light. If you want, you can also read it with me. Okay, let's begin. Many flowers and vegetables are grown in commercial greenhouses. Inside the greenhouse, the temperature, the amount of moisture, and the light intensity are controlled. So what does that paragraph means? Can you post something up on our Telegram post explaining to me how is the moisture, how is the light and the temperature controlled in a greenhouse? How do they measure light? And how does the light affect the moistures and the temperatures inside the greenhouse? I will post up some greenhouse effects, or the effects of a greenhouse, onto our Telegram post so you can read about it and have a little more understanding how a greenhouse uses light intensities. For example, if you have a greenhouse and you grow a commercial greenhouse, that means you're growing like a lot of fruits and vegetables, so to sell to certain stores. What happens if you have the light intensity very bright, very high? Will there be a lot of moisture inside the greenhouse? Or a lot of your plants might just rotten and die because it is too hot. So you need to control the balance between the darkness and the brightness of your light, right? So there be enough moisture, like I said here, and the temperature inside the greenhouse would be just right. Because if it's too dark, it might get too cold. When it's too cold, the vegetables or the fruits that the commercial greenhouse is growing might not grow, right? It might be too small to sell to the stores. So, and if it is too bright, it might be too hot and not enough moisture inside the greenhouse. So the plant will just die. So it will be a waste of the greenhouse effects. I want you to read this and read the pictures that I've posted up and understand it so you can do your second task. And for your second task, I want you to explain why people need to control light intensity in a commercial greenhouse. Remember, a commercial greenhouse is a huge greenhouse, not no small one where you or I can grow in our house. A commercial greenhouse, it grows enough products to probably supply a lot of people. So I want you to explain in full details, okay, why do people need to control light intensity in a commercial greenhouse? Please use this paragraph and use the stuff that I submitted on our Telegram post to help you, guide you through your exercise. You will be given 40 minutes to complete the second task. Once you complete this task, you can post it up on our Telegram post so your classmates and I can see your work. And I can also read it and give you your feedbacks on your tasks. Okay, class? Till we see you again on our next video. Goodbye. Hello class, welcome back to our third and final videos for today's lessons. Thank you for submitting your work to me. You have shown me that you have understand what light intensity is and how we measure light intensities, and how before where they use candle power to measure light intensity. So thank you for submitting your first task. And on your second task, I asked you about how light intensity affects greenhouses. And thank you for submitting your work on that. You have seen that if the light is too bright in the greenhouse, there will be no moistures, and it will be too dry, and all your fruits or vegetables will die off. And if it's too dark, there will be no energy or no resources from the sun for the plants to grow, right? So thank you for submitting your work on these tasks, and I'm glad that you understand why people need to know the measurements of light. And if you have any further questions about light or how light is measured and why is it measured, please ask me and I will gladly guide you through these questions. Okay, for our last task for today, yes, it is your homework. And your homework is on page 46 and 47 in your challenge book. Have mine marked. Page 46 and 47 in your challenge book. I want you to answer these two pages using our studies this week and our study from last week. Because the study from last week will also be a part of your questions in your homework. For your homework, you will have one whole week. So by the start of our next class, I want you to please submit in your work. Remember, our midterms coming up real soon. So all your homeworks and all your assignments is very important, because all your grades will be included in your total score. So please, class, submit me your homework and I will grade them for you correctly. Okay, class, till we meet again, be safe, stay healthy, goodbye.